Are there any trends that you're seeing, Bobby, in the E2 visa process or types of businesses that are successful?
The E2 visa has been a huge magnet for entrepreneurs around the world coming here especially during, it's been growing a lot, the number of E2 applicants, because they're looking for a better economic opportunity, a more stable economy. A lot of people come here for a better life for their children. That's a huge motivation. Also, a lot of people are coming here for more business-friendly government policies, lower taxes, friendlier business entrepreneur policies. Florida and Texas have become extremely popular with E2 investors because, low taxes and reasonable cost of living. Some clients, many people come from like Canada, Europe, just escaping the cold weather. Our country is so big, there's so much variety to choose from for their ideal life. So that's another huge motivator. Now, as far as the type of industries that a lot of E2 investors are choosing, now there's a wide range, broad range, so I'm kind of generalizing here, but home-based service businesses I've noticed have become more and more popular in recent years for a couple of key reasons. One is that E2 visa requires you to fully set up the business to the point where it's a real business. It can't be an early stage speculative business. That's a high risk of denial. So with service-based business, it's just much easier to set up, much less barrier to entry to get the business up and running. Whereas if you open a brick and mortar retail or restaurant, it may take a year to open up that kind of business model. So home-based service businesses have become very popular, and they tend to be on a lower investment requirement, which is also a big magnet. Not only is it faster to set up, it's easier to set up. Those businesses have less stringent licensing requirements in general. Home-based, and also I've noticed that with home-based brands, some of my clients, they are very ambitious entrepreneurs. So what they'll do is they'll buy a brand that home-based services, and they're thinking in advance, like, I fully intend to expand and buy more brands and buy complementary home services. So maybe they'll go in as a lawn care gardening, and then after they get E2 visa, they want to buy a complementary service in handyman service, locksmith, HVAC service, home renovation, and then they can cross-sell to the same customer base. I think it's so smart. So these are some of the trends that I'm seeing over the last few years.
Well, thank you for sharing those trends. I also often get asked, like, where's the best place in the US to start my business? And I said, well, it kind of depends on, like you said, climate, and do you have family in different parts of the US? I don't know, do you have a recommendation if there are any particular states that somebody should invest in, or pretty much any 52, or if any 50 state would be fine?
All the states can qualify for E2 visa, but before I answer that question, typically I'll ask the client what their priorities are. Obviously, if they're escaping the cold from like northern countries, Canada, and then it would be the southern states, Arizona, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, California, for example. If it's they're sick of high taxes in their home country, then I would educate them on the handful of low tax states in the United, no state income tax and low tax states. And those are like Florida, Texas, Nevada, Wyoming, Washington State, and low tax states like Arizona, Tennessee, for example. A lot of people fund their investment through selling their real estate property, their home in their home country, and the sale proceeds will be used for both the investment and to get a home, buy a home here in the USA. So there's a limited budget. So I would steer them towards more moderate cost of living states. You don't want to come to California and New York if you have a limited budget, because $1 million here in LA, where I'm located, will only buy you a tiny little house. So where I would suggest where they stay in the USA really depends on their unique circumstance.
Great advice, Bobby. As always, you have great advice. You also provide so many resources. You have a newsletter that any of our listeners can subscribe to. You have the e2visalawyer.net website that is chock full of great educational resources. What are some of the tools and resources that if somebody visits your website, e2visalawyer.net, that they might find there?
Absolutely. I have an ebook they can download, which has the top 12 FAQs on each visa program. And then I have more than 100 videos that tackles very specific issues, fund source, business structure for E2 visa compliance, and a ton of blogs. So it's basically a resource website for the E2 visa program. It's a reflection of my passion on the entrepreneur visa and my dedication. So I'm constantly updating with more and more knowledge base and free info for the general public.
Well, and you also have a few more success stories on there. I'm looking at it now. So, your home repair story that you shared with us, tutoring franchise, Thai restaurant. I want to make sure our listeners know that while there's hundreds and hundreds of franchise opportunities out there, there's also lots of different industries. So, we talked a little bit about home services. There's restaurants that I think we most commonly think of. But there's more than 65 different industries. So really, you can find a business that aligns with your passions and experience and some of the interests that you might have as you start that next chapter in your family's journey in the U.S.